One Team Media.
We showed you what the GOAT was last year when we beat y'all 50-7.
Let's go! One team!
Relax, big boy.
One Team One Podcast. One Team One Podcast.
Team One Podcast?
One Team One Podcast?
Yeah, they did a good job.
Really good job.
Yeah. Why is he so fat?
One Team One Podcast. One Team One Podcast. One Team One Podcast.
fat.
One
Team One
team.
Podcast.
One Team One Podcast back. Jack needs a beer already. Fridge Cam is already in effect.
Yes,
It
sir.
is the Fred's Fridge
Fred's.
Cam. Oh, come on. You can get in there, Sam.
I was just trying to do it.
Sam,
I was
get
trying
in
to do
there.
it.
Just do
Yeah.
it.
Beers are in the box.
Yeah.
For Fred's.
There we go. Hi, Nooner. You got a Nooner going on.
Did want a
already.
beer, but you know,
It is what it is.
We get a bottle opener.
I mean,
we don't
come
bitch
on.
here. We don't bitch.
That's right.
No.
One Team One Podcast,
Episode
episode
57. Jared Mitchell,
87.
Blaine Besh.
How
How about that?
Chancey Aguilare. Aguilare.
Okay.
You remember him?
No.
Pass rusher.
Sky
Supreme.
Martin.
Who?
Sky Martin.
Sky Martin.
Mhm.
I don't know that name.
SCI. That's
I-
like the only reason I remember him because he spells his name ridiculously.
Chai Martin.
Sky Martin.
SCI.
Yeah.
SCI. Okay.
I always heard Sky.
Okay. Anyway,
I think he later changed his name. to
episode
23.
87. It's been too long since we. Yeah. Anyway.
Good. Keep going, Matt.
Keep going.
Start
I
it
know.
up.
You like that? I know. you
Yeah,
like that,
I
Sam.
won with Blaine Besh.
Full house again, right? We got William.
Yes, sir.
William's got a microphone.
Yep.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Williams mic'd up.
Sam's got a microphone. Sam,
I'm
the
over
producer, is right over here. He's right by Fridge Cam, Fred's Cam. And
Jude-
then Jude is running the ones and twos tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jude's over here. Jude's
Hollywood.
next to me. Yeah,
Jude is
Hollywood
like-
here.
We got a Hollywood.
Hollywood Jude.
He's suspended from the microphone. now.
Hollywood. Don't call me Hollywood. It's at the penalty box.
Yes,
as far as
sir.
I'm
Yeah.
concerned.
Oh,
Oh,
Jude,
okay. That's his name. Don't call me Hollywood.
Don't call me Hollywood.
Yeah.
So
We
we could play that game when you go to Hollywood, and like all you have to do is say like the winner of the game is "Don't call me Hollywood." You're calling everybody else Hollywood. Hey, what's up, Hollywood?
I kind of like that.
I like that idea.
Because that one stands out too. It's like, who's Hollywood?
Yeah, what? Why are you calling me Hollywood? Anyway, Jude
Marketing
is actually going to
geniuses.
UCLA, so he's going to be our correspondent on the ground. We have a couple of correspondents. We have Ryan Johnson. You don't know Ryan, but Ryan used to work with me, and he is going, and he wants One Team One Podcast swag, and he wants a microphone,
Hell yeah.
and he's the kind of guy that you give a microphone to.
Yeah. One day
So-
we're gonna move our whole studio to Hollywood. You know,
yeah,
we're just gonna,
exactly.
We're just
We'll
gonna
be
fully
there.
sell out.
We'll be there full time.
Yeah.
All right. So I also have a Happy President's Day message.
Yep.
Was today President's Day?
Nope,
Is that
that's
today?
right around the corner.
Everybody get ready.
Yeah, next February.
Okay. All right. This is off the rails already. Okay. So huge news. Right before we even came on, we checked Twitter. Thank God.
Yeah, good for you, Matt.
Thank
Checking
you.
social
Oh
media.
my God.
Man.
This has been a disaster.
It would have
of
been a really
podcast.
uninformed, one team, one
Podcast.
ignorant motherfucker.
Wait, what?
2024 USC. We will open up the season with USC
Right.
in Las Vegas.
Right.
That's the coolest part.
And
Yes.
we're also opening the season with UCLA.
Well,
All right,
right.
you're on this
We
little
still-
technicality.
We still don't know. Well, I'm just saying, we still don't know what the fuck is going on.
Right.
was there a date set?
Yeah, it was set for August 31st.
So now,
So I'm thinking USC must be week 0.
well, it said opening.
Uh-huh.
So
Right. So week 0, right?
yeah, but I can't.
Probably not. They haven't been doing big games. They're not a big game this week. You know,
They
they're
did
usually-
one a couple years ago with Florida Miami. You remember that?
I can't see
Did they?
us starting
Mm-hmm.
off with a USC and then going straight into a UCLA though.
Yeah, but UCLA sucks. So it's like, you know.
Yeah, but I don't see us doing two Power
mean,
5
you
teams
hope they
back
do.
to back like that on a non-conference.
No,
like
I
you-
agree.
Yeah,
I
you would
agree.
have like somebody like a McNeese or something like that in the middle of them
Sure.
to balance it out a little
Sure.
bit. But man, I just
Weird playing 2 Pac-12 teams, too.
yeah.
That's strange.
Well, and we were just talking about it before we even came on about
Uh-huh.
Alabama's like non-conference schedule. You were talking about that to me before
yeah.
about how they're
Yeah, so
they've ramped
2025,
up, right?
Yeah. So, and this all tells me that
Don't tell me
all
about
these schools.
Alabama's non-conference.
What? Well, Auburn's
No, but I mean,
bullshit.
it's
Auburn's
hard.
is bullshit. You know.
Yeah, who does Auburn play? Who y'all play this year? Y'all
Penn
play?
State. Penn State.
All right, that's pretty good. At Penn State.
All right,
Yeah.
before we even get started, I
gonna be white
actually
out.
had a
That's
Twitter
actually gonna be sick.
response that we have to
Nope.
say from Dustin Davis. LSU 2024 Pac-12 South champs. I thought that was great.
No, you
Yeah.
were saying you were right about Bama though. I mean the
Yeah, okay,
Notre
so
Dame,
it's-
Texas.
So they play. And starting in 2025, they play Wisconsin and Florida State, and then the next year they play Florida State and West Virginia.
Wow.
And then the next year they go West Virginia and Ohio State.
Which
And then-
it may not sound like a lot to everybody else, but knowing Alabama's non-conference schedule,
But
the
double power,
last 10
double Power
years?
5 teams. I mean,
Yeah,
that's nuts.
that's big.
Huge, yeah.
Florida is the only team that I can think of that does something like that, where they have Florida State at the
Yeah.
end of the year.
And
Like
they play
Georgia, the same
Miami.
thing. They have Georgia Tech at the end of the year, and they
Right.
play like Clemson.
right.
You know, I know it's Georgia Tech and all that. You can call it what you will,
Sure,
but it's still two Power 5 teams that you played non-conference, where we haven't been doing that.
I have a question
I don't
about
know if
those
we've ever
games
done
though.
that.
So like I don't think those games are interesting really anymore. I think I was listening to Mac and Cuba
Like-
talking about
Like the
Florida.
first game, you mean? Is that what you mean?
No, I'm talking about Florida State.
Yeah, the
having,
last games of the year.
Yeah,
Sure.
having
Yeah.
Clemson, South Carolina.
Yeah,
like
people really don't
Kentucky,
care about 'em anymore.
Louisville. Like,
But is
what's
that
that
just
doing
because-
as a
is that-
college football? Like,
that
I like
just
playing
because-
Alabama, but that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I feel
Sure,
like.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Is that just because,
I
Florida State and Georgia Tech and teams like that, they just suck.
They're
now?
down. Yeah, I think that is part of it. because
But
there was
when
a-
Georgia Tech, they had a good year in what was that, 2014 or something like that, and that
Mhm.
actually that Georgia Tech game actually was a pretty good game, or at least it was hyped up. I don't remember how the game.
I mean,
went.
they've had
I-
good games in the past when Georgia Tech was good, but
Right.
it's been a while.
I do
And same
think
with Florida
there's
State.
Something to be said about LSU recruiting or playing both these schools is that they want to put a footprint in the West Coast. I think that's kind of part
could
of
be it.
where the direction.
Mhm.
Well, I think that's it.
Because Coach O was at USC.
Yeah.
He wants to go back for the FU tour, and so he knows the coaches. He knows everybody.
FU tour, I
Yeah.
love
Play
that.
both of them. Play
Print the
both of them and
shirts.
say LSU's better than everybody out here. Come to LSU.
We
Yeah.
will have shirts up for the
Yeah.
FU Tour 2024.
Yeah, y'all buy them early.
Yeah, get them now.
yeah.
I'm literally going to make those shirts tomorrow at work, Sam. So
I'm gonna start right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think that that does help. There's a couple of California schools that we're starting to have a kind of a pipeline. Elias Ricks came from I think it was a Modern Day, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
Mhm.
there's a couple of schools over there that we do have some relationships with that we can kind of help that out with recruiting. But playing in Las Vegas in that
It's gonna
stadium,
be crazy. These
that's gonna be so
Cajuns.
sick.
Oh
Oh.
man, they are going to
I mean,
go
Shit.
bonkers.
we were just talking about UCLA and like the travel for UCLA.
Yeah.
It's going to be off the rails for that game.
Yeah,
We're going to have 50% capacity
Like-
in the Rose Bowl.
I'm gonna go buy my tickets, my plane tickets, like tomorrow
Wait, you're going?
to Las Vegas.
No, I'm talking about Los
I'm
Angeles.
I'm talking about Las Vegas.
What's that?
Well, I'm gonna.
They don't make
figure-
flights 3 years in advance.
I'm gonna schedule one.
Right.
I'm
From
gonna schedule a
June.
flight.
You can just
Um,
schedule it in your like.
Well, let's talk
calendar,
about
yeah.
UCLA because
Well,
Yeah,
do whatever I gotta do.
the-
1 week
the
away.
game-
I mean, game week. We're almost.
yeah, we're almost to game week.
10 days.
It's
Crazy.
week 0 coming up this Saturday. They have Hawaii coming in. They're playing in the Rose Bowl, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the next week is LSU, and I think we're probably going to have 40 to 50% capacity of the stadium is LSU in
Is that
the
right?
Rose Bowl.
40 to 50.
I think so.
Where'd you hear that from?
It was estimations based off of what happened with like Texas A&M a couple years ago. There was a couple other games that they had that was like big travel
Oh,
from the
so
other team.
not like because of restrictions.
No.
You'd
Oh,
say
it's
just
half the capacity of the stadium will be LSU fans.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
And
I thought you meant okay.
no,
Gotcha.
not
I
because
thought
of
you meant
restrictions. or
COVID
anything like that.
restrictions. Okay.
No. Just normal. They're already trying to give tickets away.
I saw something that LSU was projecting like 20%.
Well, they've sold 20%. They've
Okay.
sold 15,000 or 20,000 tickets. But there's estimated to be a lot more that are going to come from the secondary market.
Okay.
They're going to come in, and they were only allotted 20,000 tickets.
Gotcha. Okay.
But they're already
Shut up, Fred.
Fred's Cam happening
Fred's Cam.
as
I mean,
we
while
speak.
we're at it,
Established in 1982.
They're already giving away
Really an
tickets
LSU
to high school students that can verify their ID. They're giving away tickets to all students, so they have to have their ID as well. So they're giving away free tickets to anybody that isn't an LSU fan, basically, at this point.
which is bonkers. Can you imagine being a Division I program and having a top 15 school come in and have
Just give away tickets.
to give away tickets?
Yeah.
Just to
students?
not be embarrassed on TV.
Right.
Oh yeah.
That's what this
if
is
they
about.
opened it up to the public, I don't know how many LSU fans would necessarily be able to
That's
make the trip
exactly.
to Los Angeles, but
Exactly.
if it was closer, if it was Dallas,
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
But
And
even
that's the thing is like they're trying to make sure that they're not going to like be completely not only embarrassed on the field but also embarrassed in the stands when LSU's up, and then they're going to have to
Right.
they're having to drown out the LSU chants in the crowd.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what's happening.
So
right now.
wait, so the band's not traveling? I saw that.
band's
somewhere.
not traveling.
Yeah.
no.
Sucks.
there's a really cutting down on the admin staff
Yeah.
that can go to. I mean, that's all.
That's
COVID
part
restrictions.
of just actual revenue that you're trying to save on this year, things like that. So
okay.
they're trying to make up for the fact that they've lost so
Lost a
much
lot of
money
money last
last
year.
year.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
that's one of the things they're trying to.
Is
kick
that all
back
year?
on. I don't know about all year, but
Okay.
to travel to
LA.
Los Angeles
Gotcha.
for a 3-day trip, that's probably a lot.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So yeah, the USC, to me, that's huge news. Not only that it's a huge opener in Las Vegas, but also for a guy like me, like that's big time for us to play USC. We hadn't,
Haven't played them since the 80s, right?
like early
Early
80s,
80s, like 82?
84,
84. Okay.
probably something like that. I think that might be the last time we played them. Dalton Hilliard went crazy, but
Nice.
like the
Shout
whole LSU USC rivalry could have been something if we would have started playing after 2003. The 2003 season where we split a national, quote unquote, split a national championship
Oh,
with
yeah,
the
fuck
AP. That was bullshit.
Sure.
And LSU fans wanted to play USC.
Mhm.
You were given the peace symbol. Okay. It was BS.
Yeah.
Jude
Yeah.
is very fired up. Jude is fired up he's just so fired up right now. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Wonder if anyone can hear him.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll
find out.
Yeah.
My mic is muted too, so it's probably pretty loud.
No, it's probably nobody heard him then.
Yeah.
Jude was very upset.
Jude's bad. Jude's very mad.
Jude was mad about 2003. I don't even know how old Jude was in 2003, but he was upset.
He was
3.
he said he was this many.
He was 3 years old. He was upset.
Mhm.
But I was 25. I was even more upset.
I was this many. I was 5.
You were 5.
Uh-huh.
Were you upset?
I was pissed.
Like you pissed in your pull-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so pissed that I actually pissed myself.
I was very upset with USC. I did not like USC. I thought we were going to crush UFC.
Conor McGregor.
If we would have played USC in 2003, it would have been night and day. I mean, we would have crushed them.
Who was their quarterback at the time?
Matt Leinart.
Leinart.
Yeah, he won the Heisman. He won the Heisman Trophy in
05, right?
No,
I thought
Or
Reggie
04.
Bush won it.
04 he
04.
won it,
Yeah, it was
and then
04. And then Reggie won the year
Reggie won. Was
05, right?
Reggie won it.
No, Reggie didn't win.
Allegedly.
Reggie
it?
cheated.
No, you're right. Yeah, 03.
03, I think Leinart won, right?
No, I think it was 04.
I think you might be
Liner,
right.
And then 05 Reggie. Although Reggie was on the cover of NCAA 05.
Then
so
who
that
won in
could be
03?
why.
Who am I missing here? Somebody won it in 03. No, that wasn't him though. It was Leinart was in 03 for sure. We need a statistician.
Jason White didn't.
Oh,
win
yeah.
Did
Jason White
win
won
the
it
Heisman?
in 03. And we beat him
Oh.
in the national championship.
Oh, Josh Heupel played at Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Come
on, Sam.
I wasn't there. I just put it together.
Sam.
Josh Heupel looks like a freaking
That was
nerd.
before
You just listened to Pardon My Take.
Josh
Listen to it.
Josh Heupel was like 2000, I think,
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
I
That's
should have
right.
known because I'm familiar with White and Adrian Peterson like that. those
But then,
teams, like,
yes,
I thought I
Josh-
liked Oklahoma. I didn't realize the same
Josh
dude.
White.
Uh-huh.
What's his name?
Heupel.
No, the other White.
Jason.
Devin.
Jason White.
Jason White was the quarterback for Oklahoma in 03, won the Heisman Trophy. We played them in 03, beat
Stuck his ass in the dirt.
Yeah, our offense wasn't like they had a really good defense. Oklahoma did.
Yeah, I mean, we only scored 14 on offense, huh?
Yeah, because
Marcus Spears.
Dude, that year, 2003, you watch any clip anytime you want. It looks like we have 13 fucking guys on defense all fucking year.
Yeah.
It was a different guy though. It was Nick Saban.
He was there in spirit though.
Yeah.
Oh, 05 is Bush for sure. So we were right. Yeah.
Well,
We just went on
he's
2 minute
gotten it taken
conversation
away
about
since.
something.
Yeah, so it was
He
Matt
cheated, so
Leinart
I
was
don't recognize
probably a sophomore.
So basically,
And then-
this game in 2024 is going to be your like therapy.
That's
in a
my
way.
yeah.
you're
We're
ready.
we're
Like, that hurt you.
revenge.
We need some
That
closure.
cut you deep.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
Coach O got fired by USC.
This is 20 years in the making.
Oh, also, this is gonna
Wow.
be Walker Howard's
You guys
junior
are
year.
sworn. Oh my
Oh,
god!
who is starting quarterback?
Walker
for-
Howard.
Imagine the freshman that comes in the year
That's gonna be his
before that.
that's gonna be his contract year.
Okay.
But Arch Manning's gonna be there at this point too.
Arch Manning
Holy
and
cow!
Doug Nussmeier. Garrett
Walk-
Nussmeier.
Walker Howard.
So all right.
Oh, right, and Garrett.
All right.
Bus.
So you're saying Walker Howard will be the quarterback
Yeah.
against USC in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
That's my guy too.
Yeah.
I mean, I love myself some Walker Howard.
Although,
Hadn't even
I
hit
mean,
campus yet.
Speaking of Nuss, I mean, Jesus Christ, these
He
stats
is-
he's putting up in these scrimmages.
It's enough to where people are starting to dumb people, but they're starting to talk about
all for it.
Garrett Nussmeier being starting quarterback.
I'm in. I'm in.
Stupid, but whatever.
Chaos, baby.
I think after Joe Burrow, LSU fans will never be content with a quarterback ever again.
No.
Never.
I agree.
We will
Mhm.
never be happy.
We
at the
have been,
quarterback
like,
position.
Spoiled.
Yeah, we were spoiled for
That's Tulane
years.
Billy. Just leave them.
Wait, is he
The-
here?
Oh, it's time for the Tulane minute.
The Tulane minute already? I think it is time. Do we need to go ahead and do it?
Yeah.
I
mean,
kind of
yeah,
feel like we
let's-
needed
let's
to wrap.
run it.
Let's go
Let's
ahead
run
and do it. It's
Oh.
time for the Tulane minute
There we go.
with Billy Zimmerman. You got
It's
1
the big
minute,
guy.
Billy. Billy,
Hi,
how
hi.
are you doing, man?
First of all, thanks guys for finally answering my phone call. I mean, it's been quite a while. I think about 80 episodes or something like that. But
First, before you get into that, this is
15.
sponsored by Bank of England Mortgage
Yes.
and continue.
And
Bill.
also, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Billy,
No, continue.
oh, okay. So first of all, my dad and we actually had a sit down with Willie Fritz, and I want to point out one thing. In Willie Fritz's, he's graduated 100% of his players.
wow.
Hey,
Which is
real
just-
quick,
I mean,
real quick,
You know,
Billy, before
Coach
you
Joe,
continue
Coach
that,
Joe's like at what, like
hey, before you
15%?
continue that real quick, this is also sponsored by River City's Total Maintenance.
The Tulane minute.
So the Tulane Minute is always going to be sponsored by those guys because
That's a minute.
they're in the
Cut him off.
they're in the North Shore and the New Orleans area. So we appreciate those guys for sponsoring the Tulane Minute. Go ahead.
Hey, just real quick. So I'm gonna leave y'all on this.
All right, it's been 1 minute. The Tulane minute is over.
Godly,
We
that was so
appreciate
good.
William Zimmerman for joining us again, and we'll reach out to him next week. I mean that was a great episode.
That was really good.
I mean, I thought that was fantastic.
Willie Fritz graduating 100% of his players.
100%.
Wow.
100%.
That's
I
what
thought he didn't like Willie Fritz.
No, I mean he doesn't. He's a Willie Fritz
Well,
denier.
to be fair, you're not going to Tulane to play football. You're going to Tulane to get a free education. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You're not going to. There's a couple pro guys from Tulane, but
They got some
If
good
you're
players.
going
They got
to
some good
the-
players. They got Michael Pratt's a legit quarterback. Let's bring him back on. Let's bring him back
Let's
on.
bring
for
it
a
back
second.
on. We'll bring
That's
it back
Tulane
on
minute.
for just a couple seconds.
All right, Billy,
here.
you have
But
1
hey,
minute.
Billy,
just real
you
quick,
have the floor.
I had some
Listen,
technical.
You
I had
have
some
1 minute to
technical
talk about
difficulties.
Michael Pratt.
So look, Michael Pratt, you got Spears in the backfield, you got Deuce Watt spread out, you got Jackson in the slot. I mean, I tell you what, and our defense is
Jackson.
not too shabby. You got Jefferson right up the middle. He's a clogger, but
Oh,
defense.
they've called me a
offense,
clogger. in
We're
the
going to be
past.
singing this a lot. We're going to be singing this a lot this year. A
Go,
one,
do it.
a two, a hullabaloo, a hullabaloo, ray, hullabaloo, ray, hooray, hooray, Bossa, tia, Bossa, tia, Tulane.
all right.
All right, we're done with
Thank
the
you
Tulane
so
minute.
much, Billy.
We
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
him. River City's Total Maintenance is always the sponsor of the Tulane Minute. We appreciate those guys for doing that for us. We appreciate Billy for checking in for his minute
Knows his
a
Tulane
week.
football.
How about that? He figured out how to get on the thing and did it all himself.
Man, I
No-
am super impressed that he
Look at this guy.
knew how to do it.
Look
I
at
know.
him.
I was like,
He
you
put a
sure?
Tulane hat on. He
He's
had his
got
cup.
a link.
He
like-
was ready to go.
You sure about this?
Like a goddamn
Like,
pro.
He was
man.
like, no. You're like, no. Trust me. I showed him how to do it. And
I
here he
actually lied to you. I did not show him how to do it.
Oh,
I just
my God.
hoped that he would figure it out.
Good job,
that's
Billy.
hard.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
I
so
had faith in Billy.
let's talk about well, first of all, a couple of our sponsors. I know we talked about River City just now, but we need to talk about Bank of England Mortgage.
Sure.
Bank of England, Patrick Michelson and Bank of England Mortgage has always been a fantastic sponsor of ours. Reach out to those guys for any refi or new home loans, anything that you need. Reach out to Patrick Michelson. He is a great person to talk to, just to kind of talk through the whole situation that you have going on with your home. Reach out to Bank of England Mortgage. Also, let's see who can I trip up for.
What if I
pays
need a
us money to
pool
talk
at my
about
house?
You need a pool?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, relief.
I mean, it's
pools.
hot.
Man, it is hot
Absolutely
as
really
shit
cool.
outside.
Stupid hot.
man.
Ben
kinda- I hate
Landry,
Jeez.
dude, I saw them on the other day. They are doing a couple of pools a day right now. Now that the rain has stopped, they're just like pouring gunite like crazy. So reach out
Nice.
to Ben
When the
Landry
rains-
at Relief Pools.
When
Huh?
the rain stopped. I missed that. When the rain stopped.
Well, it used to rain like every day, all day.
And
Has
now
been a
it's like
little-
every other day.
Now it's like the afternoon.
I will say it's not a month straight.
Yes. So reach out to Ben Landry at Relief Pools. Get on the schedule. They're busy as all get out, but they are busting their ass to get everybody's pools done,
Yes,
especially
sir.
for the fall and for football season. He understands that. So reach out to Ben. Also, Fred's in Tigerland. Reach out to Fred's. Well, don't reach out to him. Just go there.
Yeah.
So they just had the
Or you
Christmas,
can reach out. You can reach
Christmas
out to
in
friends.
August, right?
Oh yeah, that looked fun.
Yeah, that did look a lot like a lot of fun.
Jesus.
Actually, I wish I was there.
Yeah, I know.
But Fred's is fantastic. Everybody knows Fred's in Tigerland. So go check out Fred's, especially you guys that are just going into campus. Go check out Fred's. Tell them that Team One podcast sent you. They'll love to see you over there. Got a band almost every Wednesday through Saturday, something like that.
Yeah, no,
Drink
they get
specials
live
every
music all
night.
the time.
Yeah, drink specials every night. So reach out to Fred's.
Go get you
We
a
appreciate those guys.
Screwdrivers
Screwdrivers for sure. So
It's about to say mimosa.
okay, so Jude, you're going to Hollywood.
Yep. Hollywood Jude.
That was what Thursday night? Thursday, you're gonna go? Yeah, I can't hear you.
You gotta fix your
I think you gotta turn
audio.
your mic up.
Our
I think
audio
you
guy
gotta
just
turn your
left.
audio mic up. Yeah.
It's one of them. This is just excellent podcasting, huh?
Well, I was not told.
There
how
we
to do
go.
this in my 1 minute
I
training.
would not
was just
told. Yeah, I was not told there
couple
would be
But yes,
any math.
I am going to Southern California and Los Angeles, the city of demons,
What's your
as
favorite?
opposed to the city of angels. There's nothing but hell, fire, and brimstone in Los Angeles.
So,
Well,
wow.
at least he's going into it with a really good
Interesting.
attitude.
Yes,
That's right. Is he?
I'm an optometrist. I see
You
the
sound like
glass
you're
half-
gonna have a
half
really
full.
good time.
Yeah, you sound like you're having a fantastic time in Los Angeles, the demon city.
What happened? I came out.
Jude is
I-
going
I-
to Los
I-
Angeles, and
Jude's going to Los Angeles to shit on Los Angeles.
He just completely shit on
I'm
the
going
city.
to watch LSU football. I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
going to enjoy the.
You're
the-
not going to go do any kind of like.
we're doing a tour.
Okay, where?
yes, it's through TAF. That's how I'm getting these tickets.
Okay.
And so they give us like a bus tour, I think, or something like that. So I'll do that, and it's like I don't know.
The whole time you're on the tour, you're just gonna be like under your breath, like
This is
fucking
bullshit.
fucking
Well, no,
stupid.
it'll be cool to
fucking
look
cares?
at, but it's like I like going to the zoo, but I don't want to live there.
He's going to have a microphone in his hand though.
Yeah.
No,
entire
he said
time.
you had to leave to live there. Jude.
I would never
You
live
guys-
there.
You would never
Well,
live in Los
we know
Angeles,
that.
in California in general. The tax is too high.
I
Yeah,
walk
Do we
out.
need to
I
get
walk
into this?
out, and we're talking about we're paying bills, and I come back and we're talking about Jude's.
Well,
Jude's hate for
walk
LA.
out, and we'll talk about the vaccine next.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We need to get to
God.
that actually.
Yeah, let's back
But
it
no,
up. baby.
yeah, I'll finish up pretty quick here. Give it back to Will. But I'll, yeah, I wouldn't live in California. Maybe in like a rural part, but even then, I would have to evaluate.
My parents lived in Sacramento for
Sacramento,
a while.
bro.
Yeah,
Uh,
Sacramento.
What about North Dakota or South Dakota? Would you live there?
yes, I would live
You
in
would?
the Dakotas.
Because you're the
Oh.
cold.
I've
You don't
been-
seem like a cold weather guy
I've been
me.
to Wyoming. I've been to Utah. It's all great.
Montana.
I've been to Montana. That I've seen Ted Turner's ranch.
Nice.
It's all really cool.
Shout out Ted Turner.
Where is Ted Turner's ranch at?
It's in
Montana?
Montana.
Like-
William has his hand raised.
Okay,
William's been up there too.
let's
Jude,
think
what do you
that's
think
what
about
he wanted to say.
USC? You playing USC? Get it out.
in
We-
Las Vegas.
And Las Vegas.
I'd go,
'cause that's
I'd
how we
go
started.
there. I've never been to Vegas.
Me neither.
No, we're talking about the team. We're talking about football. We're not talking about you.
I don't like USC. I think they take the whole like importance of pageantry and look, our drum major wears a skirt. Or like a leather skirt.
Oh, okay, like a
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
okay,
a
I
You
got
know,
it.
Trojan.
Snoop
Yeah,
Dogg's
like a
our-
Trojan warrior.
Snoop Dogg is our only fan.
Well,
I mean-
Will Ferrell.
Well,
true,
sorry,
Will Ferrell.
washed up Will Ferrell. We hadn't made a
Whoa!
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 No,
Oh!
no,
No,
Shots.
Jude, no.
no. Because you're one of those fellas whose whole
Whoa.
personality revolves around Will
pointed at
Ferrell
him.
quotes and like just quoting Step Brothers and Old School. Don't
Yeah,
tell
bro.
me that, Hoss.
Come on now.
So
Come
how
on. Check yourself.
do you
Haas.
think Chip Kelly will still be
Watching
at UCLA
Cups.
in
UCLA.
2020?
Chip Kelly's getting fired.
He's getting fired
Y'all don't think so?
Nah.
after this year?
He could.
He had a decent little.
I saw that
I know it was
UCLA's
like a
dark
half
horse
season
national
last year.
championship contender. So
Well, it was
Alliance.
like a half season last year.
Yeah, I'm gonna be 6 feet tall in 3 weeks, and UCLA is gonna win the national championship.
Oh
I love
my
those
God.
How tall are
dark
you now?
horse national championship contender lists. Those are my favorite. And people are just like, "Oh yeah, here's this team that I just haven't seen anyone talk about in a while."
Okay, so let's move on a little
Wait
bit.
a second, you just got hot. Are
No,
y'all
I
kidding
know.
me?
He did.
We're not gonna fly past that.
Wait,
no,
you
no.
want to keep going on that?
No,
Okay.
I
I'm gonna
don't.
have a
But I
discussion with
do
Jude
want to
later.
acknowledge at the moment that he just got hot.
He
All right,
did.
switch the cameras
He,
back.
not only did he get hot, but he pointed fingers
Yeah,
directly at you.
he called
Yeah.
me a little bitch boy.
No point.
I
That's
didn't
what I
hear
heard.
that.
Review the tape, Ed Hockley. That didn't happen.
All
All right.
yeah. So
But
let's
I know
move
for
on.
a fact Cops doesn't start until 4.
All right, so big news out of LSU this week. Not only are we having football, but they are making everybody either get vaccinated or tested before the game. What are y'all's thoughts? You guys are in school currently, so I kind of want to know your thoughts and like what everybody is talking about, either on campus or how that goes.
So sorry, I was Jude's waving over there. He's distracting me.
That's my bad.
You're good. I'm joking. I got a email from LSU yesterday saying that I hadn't registered whether or not I'd been vaccinated yet, and by September 10th, they are going to. If I still have not registered, then I will be expelled from the school.
Really?
Yeah. How about that?
If you hadn't registered
My vaccination status.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whether unvaccinated or not, though, you can register as a status as unvaccinated, correct?
You can, but then you have to
there's hoops.
You have to test negative every week or something like
every
that.
month.
So you have to go.
I thought it was every 5 days.
Well, and that
right.
reminds me of like some of the not boosters, some of the vaccinations that you have to even get into school.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
You have to have the measles, mumps, and whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Like
TB.
Vaccination. What are those?
TB tests on that stuff.
Yeah, and you have to have the your AIDS vaccination.
Yeah.
Is that where?
Yeah. No, you do.
I think
No,
you're
you do.
thinking of measles. maybe
Measles, mumps, and
something more.
I already had
available
AIDS, so
to
I have the antibodies.
okay, good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I don't want to talk too far about like my opinion on whether or not this is fair or not, because it's a pretty hot button issue.
Yeah.
I would say.
And we posted, huh?
Yeah.
Cancel season. It's
Cancel
cancel season.
It's hot.
We're gonna have a whole segment with Sam here about cancel season in a
Yeah.
second.
Sam loves canceling. Man.
He does. He wants to cancel.
Well,
somebody so bad.
since we're talking about it, I got my second vaccination, and I was like, I feel empowered right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna go around canceling.
No,
people.
I said the same thing.
It's just like I am, better than everyone.
I'm sick of walking around all these lowly serfs
Right.
that
yeah,
have
you
not
looked
been
down on me
vaccinated.
for so long. And so then I thought, what's next? Cancel culture.
Right.
And I think the thing with the vaccines is like they can make their own decisions, and that's kind of the fact of like what it is. Like they can, it's like I don't know what you're gonna do about it, but it's like I don't know. I mean, I realize that it's like an infringement on privacies, but whether or not you've chosen to get it is up to you. But whether or not you can come into a private event that's held by the state is up to them.
Yeah.
And I realize that they work for you technically, but it's their decision. So
I also want to know, who is checking to see that you have your vaccination
that's
card?
going to be a mess.
Is it the same lady that, Deborah,
You can
that
just
checks my ticket? It's going to be the same person. They're going to say, okay, yeah, you're vaccinated. You're good.
You can counterfeit.
Or is it gonna be-
quickly. I mean, it's a card stock, and again,
You could
it's like
literally get someone can screenshot and then send it to you. And then couldn't you just show that? I mean, I'm not trying to give people ideas, but I kind of am.
I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know. It's just going to be
I
hard
just
to
said-
police, and
Right.
the good thing is they're going to do it. So, what? At least
It's like,
they
is
can
it one of those things
go,
where
I
they're
guess,
just
like,
are they
and
just
go
doing
get
it?
tested? I guess go get a negative test. Like I realize it sucks, but like
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also you can't do the 15-minute test.
yeah, you have to do
That's the thing that sucks the most. Is like you have
to do the skull brain fucking
yeah,
test.
exactly. They got to do the one where they poke you in the brain with the stick.
Yeah, I didn't do that one.
That's
I
not
did
good.
that the first time I got tested, and
I've
that
never done that.
sucked.
Yeah, I've
I
never
felt
done
like-
any of that.
I already felt like crap, going into the test, and I felt so much worse.
But then tailgating is 100% open, which again I'm all about. I'm all for. I mean, love it. One way or the other, don't care.
I think
Put 'em
that
in the
was what
stadium.
everybody's really concerned about was tailgating.
But the tailgating's
Yeah.
100% go. But for some reason, once you walk into the stadium, it's like, oh, you can't do that. Like,
And it's an outdoor event, and that's something I've seen people that have been frustrated. That's something they talk about. It's like, this is outdoor. Isn't it not supposed to spread that much outdoor?
Oh, I think people are
And
just pissed off about the hypocrisy of it all.
agree.
Yeah.
And it is.
It's not. It has nothing to do with the science of it.
right.
It is like, okay, wait, you're saying that we can be 100%
Uh-huh.
tailgating and like no restrictions, but we then have to wear a mask in the stadium
Right.
and be tested to be in the stadium.
Right.
It makes no sense at all.
Yeah,
and
we
I
all
have
just
nothing
drank
to
out the same solo cup
I have
at our tailgate.
Yeah, I have nothing to say to those people other than it is what it fucking is.
Right.
And do you want to go to games this year or not?
Right.
And that's at the end of the day that I am not about to debate political stuff, but like, do you want to go to a game this year or not?
Yeah, the decision's made. Us bitching about it and us not going. Like the thing is that they have the money and like get over it, folks. I guess.
Yeah.
And
Go
so
ahead.
we are joined now by Peter Burns of the SEC Network. So you can let him in, Jude, if you can, and then we will see if we can get him on.
There
he
There
is.
she
What's up, boys?
How
y'all
are you doing?
man? I'm doing well. I got the kiddos to bed. I'm not drinking
Nice.
quite yet, but soon. I didn't even know we were doing video here, so I got the whole the nasty ass white T-shirt on. Do I need to go landscape style here, or what are we doing here?
And can you change your shirt because that's really inappropriate.
It is really. You might see nipples
This is a
at
kid's
some point, like in the middle.
We are drinking pretty heavily right now. Yeah, landscape is perfect. Actually,
Landscape. All right, good. Let's roll. Good deal.
Yeah. So we're drinking quite heavily. This is my third, and I do a bourbon and peach iced tea mixture at home, Peter. So I don't know if you've ever done that before, but it's quite lovely. And we have a team full of people. So we actually have 5 of us in this room right now, which is saying something if you've ever seen this room. But
it smells. It smells. Is that,
it
is
smells of like rich mahogany, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Not
I like
mahogany.
What's up, Peter?
Yes.
What's up, guys?
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we were
Bonsoir.
just talking about the LSU came down the pipe actually today and talked about how tailgating was going to be 100% open, which everybody was very excited about. But also that you're still going to have to be vaccinated or test negative within 72 hours to enter the stadium. What are you guys seeing from the? I know you're with the SEC Network, so it's a larger regional scale. Are you seeing any of that? Maybe that's going to come to fruition for the rest of the schools in the conference, or
I mean, think about Josh Brooks, the LSU guy, was over there, the equipment guy for a while. He's over the AD now at Georgia, and they've said that they weren't going to do it. Scott Strickland reached out to me a couple of days ago, and he said it in an interview today, saying, "Listen, University of Florida, they don't even have the rights to be able to do something like that, even if they wanted to do it. Probably the same thing that's going to go with Mississippi. I don't know about Alabama quite yet. Kentucky came out today, I guess, guys, and said that they were going to require masks, but not necessarily require the vaccine or negative test. So, listen, I mean, and I tweeted a couple of days ago, like, it flipping sucks, right? Like, there's nothing better than tailgating in the SEC, 100,000 in the fans. I mean, that's the lifeblood of LSU football. And so nobody wants to do this, but I think what they're afraid of is it just being so bad in that area right now that all of a sudden health officials are like, we literally cannot have people over at Tiger Stadium one way or another. That's kind of how they looking at it. And they're like, a lot of schools can't afford the, $70 million shortfall they had last year. And I would imagine LSU right now looks at it and just like, listen, this sucks. We don't want to do it. It's a pain in the butt to do it. But right now, until things calm down a little bit, we're going to have to do it so we can actually have open tailgating and we can have unlimited, capacity there in Tiger Stadium.
Yeah, and how much of that is like a PR situation also, where they just don't want an outbreak happen because of Tiger Stadium?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the best look, right? I mean, but then again, college football has never been all about the best looks around anything to begin with. I mean, going back from like the 1900s, right? It hasn't been exactly like, since the Ivy League kind of bounced out and they threw up the deuce and they were just like, we're not really around this anymore. Everybody's kind of just been a little bit different. But listen, man, it's a pain, and that was one of the things we talked about over at SEC Media Days, that like this thing was starting to become really bad once again. And we heard it from the outside, or we heard it from some sources that, hey, listen, be prepared that this thing is not just going to go away. But then all of the Texas-Oklahoma news came up, and then so everybody kind of just was like, all right, we're not going to worry about it too much longer. And then now here we are. NFL's dealing with it. All the sports are dealing with it. It flipping sucks because I just want to watch football and talk about football,
Right.
Exactly. All right, so let's talk about football a little bit.
Yeah.
LSU coming off of we pride ourselves, well, starting today, I wanted to not talk about 2020 ever again. You didn't know that, Jack.
Yeah.
We're never going to talk about 2020
I'm proud
again
of
on
you.
the podcast.
Give us 5 minutes. We're going to be talking about it.
Yeah. We're not going to do it anymore. And honestly, I don't even want to talk about 2019 anymore. And that's another conversation. For
so it's like your
probably
golf.
another day.
Basically, it's like your golf handicap. Like you throw out your really good round, and you throw out your really shitty
Exactly.
round. I don't know if I can
Yeah.
curse on the podcast. but I did,
Exactly.
Yes, we're only going
I
to
don't
talk
want to
about
talk about the high
2018.
note. I don't want to talk about the low note. Like,
Okay.
where do you see us in 2021? Have you guys made predictions for this already? What's it like right now?
Oh, in fact, I'm glad you reminded me because Scott Rabelais just reached out a couple days ago, and
Forget Scott. You're
I
on
know,
One
but-
Team One podcast now.
I know,
Peter.
but I'm glad you said that because I told him I would give, like, we're doing media predictions on there, and again, I'm kind of in that mix. And I'm like, I think this is either a 9 or 10 win team. The problem is normally years coming in, I feel like I know enough about a team where I'm like, yeah, this does not, this style does not make a good fight, right? Like, Bama traditionally being one of them, but I can kind of peg where the others are going to be. That's the deal. Like, I think this team goes 10-2. I just don't know what flipping two the losses could be, right? It's just so inconsistent, right? Like, I could see them losing to UCLA right off the bat. UCLA and Chip Kelly get a week 1 game against Hawaii. And then all of a sudden I can see them getting all of their, stuff and gear and ripping off a bunch of wins. So that's probably the frustrating yet probably kind of exciting part about this team is that I really have zero expectations. And I can't remember the last time I went into an LSU season and actually felt like unburdened with this like sense of expectations for this team.
Right. And tell us about your LSU experience too. So let everybody know, like, where has this started? Where has it become? How's it blossomed? Because I consider you our resident LSU homer. Kind of like Ryan Clark and Marcus Beard, McFarland. You're like one of those guys, right?
Yeah. I mean, listen, we at one point, I think I've told Hester this, so he knows that we were trying to hire people for SEC Network a couple of years ago, and Hester comes in and just absolutely slays it on the audition, right? And I had to pretend like I didn't know him really well. I was like, oh, this Jacob Hester guy, he's pretty good, right? So not all the time that I'm trying to like feed him all the answers. Well, anyway, Hester kills it. And then they're like, yeah, we loved it. I'm like, well, why didn't y'all hire him? They're like, dude, we got too many LSU people as it is. Like, think about it. It was Kaylee Hartung. It was Booger. It was Ben McDonald. It was Todd Walker. It was myself. It was Marcus Spears.
Sorry.
I mean, yeah, and yeah. The Oklahoma guy who will now be an SEC guy. But yeah, we just had so many LSU guys already. So, I mean, I'll remember my first day. I mean, before I get back into how I became an LSU guy, I remember my first day sitting in the office and it's like, Tebow, Feinbaum, Joe Tess, all these guys. And I'm there and I'm like, dude, they're going to find me out for the damn fraud that I am so quick. Like, I'm going to steal so many school supplies here. And I'll be like, I mean, just ridiculous. And I was like, dude, that's freaking Booger McFarland. Like that's awesome. And I'm trying to play it cool. And I'm like, that's flipping Marcus Spears right there. Like, that is awesome. And the fact that I got the chance to work with these guys over the last couple of years, man, it's like I won like some really cheesy Alec Box raffle, like to hang out with the team for a day, and I actually did it. So, but yeah, I mean the background is born in Port Allen, so raised in Port Allen, Louisiana, and used to play T-ball right across the bridge. Like when you cross the bridge, you can see that little T-ball.
Yeah, that little. I've always thought about if we could do a Sandlot game where we throw the Have you ever done that? Like you're literally like right there. If the fireworks go off on the Mississippi, can you play a game on that field?
I guess I could. I mean, it was probably like around 9 or 11 when I ended up, leaving town.
Light it up enough to where you could do it. Yeah,
I'm in. We can make Sandlot.
We got to do this.
With Jay Johnson and all the guys that hit home runs on that team. I'm in. But yeah, so grew up, and so my dad was a cancer survivor, and so he didn't get an opportunity to go and finish school when he wanted to, and so he went and he was a chem engineer major.
Okay.
So he ends up graduated from with a degree from chemical engineering, like around 86, 87, 88 is when he's going. So I'm like 7, 8 years old. Then the first time I'm ever going to games, I'm sitting in the student section of Tiger Stadium. All of a sudden we're hearing every single F-bomb and, people drinking and stuff like that. And I vividly remember my dad telling me, he's like, we're not going to tell your mom about anything. We don't repeat anything. And I thought it was the coolest thing. So, we grew up to go in every single game. And I remember seeing Ben McDonald pitch and, Joey Bell back in the day. And then I was a diehard basketball fan. Used to play sure shot back in the day at Holy Family right there in Port Allen. So I grew up watching Chris Jackson and Shaq and Ricky Blanton and Vernell Singleton, and I was a diehard Dale Brown fan. So that's just kind of how the LSU blood kind of ran through me all my life.
Well, I'm the same age, so I've experienced all of those things. So we have a Chris Jackson. We have an actual what do you call those? It's we hail to Chris Jackson right over here.
Shrine.
Like a shrine for Chris Jackson. We're gonna get him to sign it. Actually, I found out somebody has got Mahmoud Abdul Rauf's contact where he's gonna sign my Sports Illustrated.
I gotta be honest. So true story. Like I haven't interviewed him yet, and I kind of don't want to.
And you're gonna be freaked out, like you're gonna
call him Chris Jackson and not his name.
It's not necessarily that, right? Like it's just like he is on such a pedestal for me that I'm like, anytime that I've met somebody that I felt like, oh my gosh, I couldn't wait to meet them, like it's somehow they didn't live up to that hype. And so for Chris Jackson, like I don't want anything. And my
like don't meet your idols kind of thing.
Like, just be like, dude, we're good with him. Like I don't need to say anything. Like we're good. So I said, one of these days. I mean, I was at the Loyola Marymount game. With Hank Gathers and Bo Kimball and stuff like that. Sure. I mean, it's just
I still try to tell people about. I was at the Duke game where Shaq and Christian Laettner played each other, and I was trying to explain like how crazy of an environment it was, even though we lost by like 11 points, but it was like the best game I've ever been to in my life. Nobody can kind of like grasp that in their heads, but I think you understand.
Yeah, I mean, I remember growing up, like we had just moved to Texas, and the first thing we had to do was like we had to set up like our cable TV, and we had to rig it somehow just because LSU was going to be playing Kentucky. And all of a sudden we're like, dude, we got to watch it. And I'm sitting there and we're watching the first half and we're just beating their ass. I mean, it's great. Like I'm just,
this can't be the Mardi Gras game, right?
It's the game. Yeah. It's the game. And I'm just like, at the end of it, like I remember like we had to throw the television away because we thought it was cursed at that point.
All right.
Like flipping off Rex Chapman.
All right.
I mean,
I'm 42. My nephew,
I wasn't
over
alive,
here,
but I already
he's 22.
know. I know what game you're talking about.
So we started this podcast together. So basically, when you tell me things, I have to explain to him what happened.
I know what y'all are talking about.
Yeah, he understands now. So, all right, let's get to LSU football. Everybody's wanting to hear about this. You said 10-2 just a second ago, which we've actually been on the podcast and we've said 10-2 is kind of our
mean.
Our meme. Our mean, yes.
Average.
Agreed. Our mean. 9-3 to me is kind of like a baseline. 11-1 would be fantastic.
Yeah.
10-2 though. We also
is par. 9-3 is par. Right.
I agree. 10-2 though. I can't tell you who that second loss will be.
No.
You said it perfectly. Alabama is the one that you have to just throw out there. It's at Alabama. Who that second loss is, I can't even tell you. And when that happens, I immediately think that, okay, well, this could be an 11-1 season, if not better. I mean, nationally, people aren't thinking that way, right? Like, you've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, I think nationally, people will still look at last year's 5-5, and I mean, listen, we played. I remember on my show this morning, we played some sound from Ed Ingram just being like, listen, there wasn't a whole lot of leadership on this team, right? Terrence Marshall decides to peace out, and with Jamar not playing there and all the chaos that went down, there was just a lot of stuff going on to where that just didn't feel like LSU football, right?
No.
That was probably the most disappointing part of it. Because so much of I wanted to see coming off of 2019, like, had you closed that gap with Bama, it wasn't going to be necessarily it was just going to be a recharge rather than a rebuild, right? And in 2020 and the pandemic and all that stuff happens, and you're like, damn, that stinks. But I think the thing that I've been kind of curious about and been maybe disappointed about, it's not necessarily the talent. Like, I feel like the talent's always going to be there. It's just a matter of, puzzled by some of the coaching hires, whether it be Matt Canada right back in the day, and then, Bo Pelini, loving golf money that didn't work out well. Like, I mean, it's just, and I feel like they like this staff, but I'm like, well, why in the hell did we find some staff like this the year prior rather than just kind of saying, oh, this sounds like a good idea?
Yeah, and part of what we've been saying here is that really, I mean, just you have to just look at it, especially when you're close to it. Like, checked out, right? Like, won the national championship, checked out, went through a divorce, all kinds of personal stuff going on, and now he righted the ship like midway in the season. Probably after the Missouri game, I would assume, or something like that, or Auburn, around that. Thank you, Jude, appreciate that. But righted the ship. Thankfully, we won the last 3 games of the season with
two.
3 out of 4. So Arkansas.
That's not correct either.
Arkansas,
3 out of 5. Sorry.
Hey, we beat Florida at the end of the season. We'll just live
Florida was like, how big of a win was that Florida game? Looking back at it, because we were hearing things, Peter. We get texted stuff all the time. We get texted all kinds of rumors all the time. We were texted a rumor from a very reputable source that all kinds of guys were about to opt out after that Florida game.
Yeah, the thing is that you have to have that one, you got to have that one win, right? You got to have something that all of a sudden you believe in. I mean, going back, think about 2003, LSU playing Georgia. Skylar Green catches that damn pass by Matt Balk, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, damn, like, this could happen. Like, and to me, like, it's not the same because the stakes weren't the same, but I think that game against Florida was so important because it's going to build that foundation, not only for this year to be pretty damn good, but then the following year, right? Like, that's the thing that I've circled. Like, is 2022 is going to be the year that I cannot wait to watch this LSU team, because again, I feel like this is like such a free roll year, as long as it doesn't get into this chaotic 7-5, 8-4 crap. I mean, as long as it's better than that, I'm looking at the following years being the year that I'm like, all right, you got your starter at Max, and you got all these young guys for another year. Yeah, you're going to lose Stingley and whatnot, but you're going to have all this young talent ready to rock and roll, especially in the name, image, and likeness stuff. It's only going to help even more for LSU.
I agree. And so,
Matt, you went a total of like 13 minutes without talking about 2020.
I know.
Good job.
It's hard.
That was really well done.
It's really hard for me to not talk about 2020.
Proud of
Appreciate that, Sam.
You're welcome.
All right. So, talking about 2021, LSU 10-2-ish is kind of what we're thinking. What are you thinking as far as how the schedule lines up? What are your thoughts on with LSU? Say Max Johnson is playing really well, which we kind of expect, actually. So we expect the offense to be kind of in line for what it was,
I think it's just my feelings that this year is going to be inconsistent, right? Like I think there's going to be some weeks that are like you can beat any team in the country, right?
Yeah.
And then there's going to be occasionally in several games this year where we're going to look at it, we're like 3 drives in a row and be like, what in the hell was that? Like that just seemed discombobulated.
Offensively, we're talking about though, right?
I think this team's mentality and it is defensive wise. I mean, from everybody I've talked to down there with boots on the ground, that when they go to practice and when we talk to people, it's like, brother, I don't think you're ready for what this defense looks like. Now,
Look,
of course,
we've had drinks with Durante Jones personally, so I can tell you right now, this guy is like he's got the communication down. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it. Like the guys are buying in. Like that's, Chiswick and I were talking about that in our set today on the show. It's like, are they going to just let these guys go out and have, and be playmakers, right? Like you always have playmakers at LSU, right? You got a bunch of guys that can wear the number 7 if they got the right marketing.
Sure.
Like give them that opportunity to go make plays. And like last year, it was bad. And I think that's the one thing that I've heard is that the communication is a whole lot better. And I think one thing that helps LSU this year, guys, too, is that, I think 2019 and 2020 football takes a step back a little bit. And I think it's more of a defensive minded year. Now, I'm not saying that it's like all the way to 05, 06, and whenever we were holding people to 300 yards, but I don't think it's as wide open because I don't think the quarterback play is as proficient as it has been in the quarterbacks we've seen in the last 2-3 years in this league.
Now, is that nationally, or do you just feel like that's Southeastern Conference kind of thing?
I think it's Southeastern Conference. I mean, hell, we only brought 3 different quarterbacks to SEC Media Days. I mean, some years we bring 8 or 9, so you knew what guys were going to do. And I think, everything, and Saban talks about it, like it's cyclical, right? Like you start talking about
absolutely
what these teams can and cannot do, and over time they're going to say, all right, well, everybody's kind of shifting towards this spread defense and playing more of nickel and more safety help. All right, well, then I'm going to gash the hell out of you and run the rock. Yeah. And so I think it's a little bit more like that this year, which, again, I think honestly helps LSU with what they're looking at defensively.
All right, Peter, you mentioned quarterback play and especially bad quarterback play. And it struck a chord with me as an Auburn fan. Tell me, say good things about Bo Nix to me, please.
Sam is our producer, and he is from Birmingham, and he is a huge Auburn fan. So
I think so what I say about Bo Nix is I think Bo Nix would be fantastic as Val Kilmer in like Top Gun 3 with the hair, like the shirtless volleyball scene.
He doesn't have acne this year, and he got engaged. He's going to be confident as hell.
It's a glow up year. It's a glow up year.
Thank you,
Accutane, baby. Shout out to Accutane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many of the Auburn guys will be, on the field come for an opening weekend. I mean, that's the kind of craziness that it is right now, right? I mean, you got the Brian Harsin situation, and poor Derek Mason was out there, and he was out for a little bit too, and that is going to be interesting situation to go ahead and look at, because if all of a sudden, man, if they don't get, if they can't go to these 85% protocols or testing deals and they miss a bunch of players, I don't know if you ever heard of this, but Auburn boosters, they tend to be a little bit of a fickle bunch. So you probably need to get that thing figured out just real quick.
They probably don't like vaccines either. If I had to guess.
Hell, I don't know if anybody in the South really likes them. If I look at the numbers.
But that was really nice what you said about Bo. I appreciate that. I feel a lot better about having Bo Nix.
There we go.
Peter, he just muted his mic. Say the real thoughts.
Yeah.
No,
so
it's. I would just say the best thing about Bo Nix is that Tank Bigsby is on that team.
You're right. You're right.
Hand the ball off, please, Lord.
Hey, if I was on this podcast 7-8 years ago and we're talking like Jordan Jefferson and Jarrett Lee and
it'd be the same thing.
I would have been like, Bo Nix is a damn savior of Christ. Like I would have been all in. So this is pot calling kettle black here for a little bit, right?
No, that brings me to how much has the 2019 Joe Burrow year just completely. I know we just talked about we weren't going to do this.
You said don't do it.
I'm doing it. how much? Yeah, how much has it just completely swayed your thinking of LSU football at this point? Because I think LSU fans, regular LSU fans, it has completely melted their brain with 2019 and then 2020 back to back, and it's like it completely melted their brain. They don't know how to act.
Yeah, I mean it's like the first time you may or may not have seen an adult movie, and then all of a sudden it was the greatest thing ever, and then you're like, wait a minute, all I got is Skinemax at the house, and like last year was like
Bodies. It was Hard Bodies on HBO, and that's exactly what it was like.
I think Red Shoe Diaries. I think that's what. And last year was like PG-13. You're just like, this is like, you know, whenever you would buy the CD from Walmart and it was edited, like that's what last year kind of felt like. You're like, no, I need to get back to the real thing. But I will say this: if you told me that I could have, and I know we're not supposed to say it, but if you could tell me I could I had 2019 that season, right? Yeah. But I couldn't have a incredible LSU team until 2023 or 2024. I'd be like, come on, sign me up. Like I'm in.
Right.
I'm in. So I always think for when you win a title, I feel like I got 3 years until I could really bitch, moan, and complain. And year 1, we're good. Year 2, I might throw a remote control. By year 3, I'm kicking dogs. So like I'm still in just the throwing of the remote stage at this point.
Yeah, and I think I had a Facebook thread today, and it's always Facebook. Why is it always Facebook?
I thought you were off of Facebook.
No, I still get on Facebook every now and then. Sam walked in my office today, and I was like, it was Facebook thread. But Facebook was always the one where it was about Ed Ogeron and like giving him some respect, put some respect on Ed Ogeron's name. Yeah. And it's like, you know what, he went 5-5 last year. He checked out for about half the year. Like, can you not understand that and like at least see how bad of a year that was? Yes, he came back in the end of the year and he like redeemed himself. He salvaged the season. There's a piece of LSU fans that don't understand that yet. That what?
I feel like there's a bone to pick with Ocho here. Is that what I'm getting from it? Like,
not with me necessarily. But
Matt's coming from a point of like, you know, someone has like such a strong opinion one way, and then so he feels like he has to go the other way.
No. I think it's more of a demographic. There's older people that have a hard set feeling of Ed Ogeron, and there's younger people that have a different demographic, a different feeling of Ed Ogeron.
So you're the young guy in this scenario?
I think I'm
so
in
we're
the
just
middle.
Talking through your Facebook.
I feel like I'm in the middle.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I feel like I'm in the middle where the older people they're diehard Ed Ogeron, and they don't want to see any change. He's a Louisiana guy. And no matter what happened here, we need to stick with him thick or thin. And there's a younger demographic that saw the turmoil that was 2020, and they understand that a lot of that was Ed Ogeron, and I think that's fair, and I think that's why this is such a big year, right? I mean, like just because if it goes to hell in a handbasket and you lose by 17, like you were favored against Florida or you were underdog against Florida, and you roll, then you're coming in and everyone, what would have been the topic on College Football Live? All would have been, hey, is this Ed Ogeron's last year? There really isn't that talk this year because of the way that they ended the season. So, I mean, I think that's why it's so big for him to connect with those guys. And listen, I mean, like, and we were talking, earlier on my show about it, like the makeup of this staff looks a whole lot different, over the last couple of years. Like it feels like they're connecting with guys a little bit more. So, I think Ogeron has a lot of old school guy in him, and I think that's why he resonates so well with the hard ass LSU guys from way back in the day. That and then at the end of the day, though, you gotta build this towards this new generation that wants to go out there and say, listen. Nick Saban's adapting every single day. Like, if he makes it work, can you make it work
They lose everybody and their mother every year, and they don't miss a beat. So how's that going to happen down in Baton Rouge? So that's why this year is such a damn big year for O.
Right. And last question for you, and we'll let you go because we know you got a hard time out. But let's talk about the schedule and how it lines up. I know you said possibly a 10-2 season. Do you have a loss prediction for us and who we lose to? I want to put that on record if we can.
Yeah, you just need to send them the tweet by, hey, remember when you said we'd lose?
Yeah.
Exactly. I know
we're just setting you up, baby.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm going to give you Alabama because I'm married to my diehard Alabama.
That's right.
Fan that's in the
I
other
forgot
room.
about that.
So listen,
I
like tarred and feathered.
I should have said that.
I'll be on diaper duty for a year if I don't say it's going to be Alabama. And here's the thing. I think the other one won't come to necessarily. I don't even know if it comes to A&M or something like that. I think it comes to somebody that you're favored in, and I think it probably comes to somebody that you're favored by 7 to 10 points. Where all of a sudden you're like, "Where the hell?"
No.
Like I was buying it. And so I don't know. Again, like this is not literally a cop out because sometimes I feel like I already know. Like, all right, this is just going to be a pain in the ass game. I think they're all going to be kind of pain in the ass games, but I think LSU just has better coaching and better players than probably 95% of the league right now.
Yeah, well, Sam, our producer, wants to say Auburn, but I'm thinking you're probably leaning towards Ole Miss is what we probably would say.
I don't think
Coercion.
Ole Miss, Peter, I would love to hear
Or
your thoughts.
Florida.
If you, I don't think they have the defense. Has their defense improved enough to be better than what they were last year? Sure, they had the other year of practice, but they were bad.
I mean,
and
they
didn't really add anybody. So like everybody's talking about Ole Miss, but
Jaquez Jones too, right? Their leading tackler or one of those guys. He ended up transferring out. So I mean, for Ole Miss, I think that was the and I've said it on my show many times. Like that was the biggest smoke and mirrors job in the history of the world. Like they went 5-5 and didn't play a lick of defense, but everybody was all, oh my God, they've reset the world on fire. And Lane Kiffin is the greatest thing in the history of coaching because they scored a bunch of points. So I'm like, all right. Yeah. So I mean, I guess. That was my thing that I told Bill Martin, the old LSU guy, and he's over at Tennessee now. And I told Bill, I was like, dude, if I'm you guys at Tennessee, I go do the exact same thing that Lane did. You don't have to win a bunch of games. You just have to put a boatload of points on the board, and people will at least say, well, we lost, but we the offense looked good. Like that would be the win for him. So again, but I do like Lane, man. I mean, like I said, I used to hate Lane Kiffin with a passion because I thought he was a petulant child, especially even going back to like the way he left Alabama when he was OC and he was kind of just making a big deal when he went to FAU, and to see how I really truly think that he's matured a lot in the way that he's handled himself lately. I've been impressed with it. So I would have never thought that would have been the case, but he's a different guy. Real quick story before I leave. We're at media days this year, and I didn't get a chance to really say hi to Lane last year because of COVID, and so we're at media days, and he's kind of behind the scenes with us. And I go up, and he's with his son, and I was like, "Hey, Lane, Peter Burns, good to see you." And he's just, he's on his phone. He's all, "Hey, yeah, okay, yeah," and I'm like. And I left, and I was like, "You got to be flipping kidding me, dude!" Like that was like the most like kind of. I didn't like that move whatsoever, dude. I was upset. And then literally, I'm walking down right after I have that interaction with him, and I'm walking down the escalator, and Lane's retweeting something I said, and he goes, "This guy's hilarious," or something like that. I'm like, Lane was so in track with his phone and Twitter that he was legitimately looking at a tweet that I had and tweeting it out while looking at me and had no interest in actually having a human interaction when it was on the phone. Like it was nuts. And that's just kind of in that quirky way the quirky way that that Lane is, man. It's nuts.
No, I don't.
He's trying to recruit. He's trying to get out there and be cool where the kids want to go
and that's a little weird. Let's just call it like it is. That's a little weird.
He is a little weird though.
But think about it. Like I like all of these guys. Like Saban's weird. Like name a guy that's extremely good at what he does that isn't a little bit off. Like
Gus Malzahn.
Sure.
By the way, How big a divorced dad vibes is Gus giving off at UCF that he's having the greatest time of his life?
Oh,
right?
big time.
His hair
did
grows so
Divorced
fast.
dad.
Like,
Wait,
the
did he
boosters
did
make
he
him
dye
dye-
his hair? Is that what happened?
I don't know if he's
the
got maybe
boosters
like
make
some
him?
sun in or something
He's
like
got
that.
to be driving a
like,
Jeep by now, right?
Is he
He's
going for
just-
the Bo Nix look?
Every day's got to be the greatest day of his life. I mean, he's in no state income tax. He's got a big old buyout. Like he's at UCF. Like Gus is living his best life, and I'm so happy for him. I like Gus, man. Gus was a good dude. He just the problem is his mansion in the SEC neighborhood just happened to be right next to Saban's billionaire home. So that was the issue that Gus had at Auburn.
Yeah, but Gus is a weird guy. I respect what he did. I appreciate what he did for Auburn, but like he looks like a weird guy with his sweater vest and his glasses.
His name
and
is
his chunk.
Gus.
His eyes
What
are
was-
very close together.
when
Have
I
you ever noticed
first-
that?
When I first met Gus in the first couple of years, man, I always I've told him this too. I said, man, it always felt like you thought that there was like a sniper trained on you.
Right,
Like he's just kind of
right.
like kind of always looking around. And then I just remember the year that LSU, 2019, seeing him in the over at the Atlanta for the SEC championship game right before LSU Georgia played. And I talked to Gus, and Gus had the biggest grin on his damn face because they had just come off of beating Alabama, and he was just having so much fun. You could just tell, man, like he's like, screw it. I don't know what happens anymore. I'm just going to have a fun time. So
Right.
Gus living the buyout life. That's a hell of a deal, man.
Respect.
Buyout life, buyout season. That's
Yep.
what we should call this episode. We appreciate it, Peter. We would like to bring you on again if we can. So
yeah, man, let's do it.
yeah.
I got a bunch of SEC Network stories we'll tell.
And
I'll
would
show
love
you
that.
some gear I got in the office here. That's
yeah,
that-
we do
that's
the
decent.
Durante Jones Bourbon Club too. So
Okay.
it's a big deal here in Baton Rouge. But the Durante Jones Bourbon Club, obviously, in homage to Durante Jones, huge
Homage.
bourbon guy. And I think you are a big bourbon guy as well, right?
I mean, whatever they were pouring in my mouth at Bogies at like 2 a.m. It didn't
Can we
matter.
talk about bogeys for a second? Like,
Well, I
big
mean,
sponsor of this podcast, bogeys.
no way.
right?
Are you kidding?
Yes,
I thought-
absolutely.
I legitly thought I thought y'all were making fun of me and my love.
No,
for
no, no.
Bogies.
We're like huge bogeys
yeah.
guys. Clayton at bogeys, big time.
The
Muggsy,
man, the myth,
I
the
know
legend.
Muggsy did the bogeys in the past, but Clayton is now. But yeah, bogeys is our sponsor now. So go ahead.
No, I
Go
was just-
ahead with bogeys.
I just remember the last time I was there. I remember waking up in a fog, and it was like about a day and a half later, and I get a text from Kaylee Hartung, and she goes, "Do you remember this?" And it was a picture of me and her had engraved our names on the office wall or something like
What?
that, and I'm just like, I don't even recall that. And she goes,
We can
"Yeah,
go
it
there
was just
tonight.
a typical
and,
night at Bogies."
photo this.
It's every night is a night to remember. I remember when I used to go to Bogies when I would come in from San Antonio. By the way, I was only supposed to go 10 minutes on this thing, and I'm so excited to talk about Bogies
Yeah,
right
you're
now. It's
good.
great.
You're good. Go ahead.
And I told my friends, I was like, dude, and I was like, we're gonna come up. We're gonna play. It was an LSU Bama game. Now this was before. This is like '99 or 2000. Like this wasn't like when Bama was Bama. And I told my buddy that I played college golf with. I'm like, we're gonna go to this LSU game, and its greatest thing ever is when LSU scores a touchdown. They do the song, the chant, everything like that. It's awesome, right? So we get there. And LSU gets blanked that year, like a shutout.
Oh,
So
I
he
know exactly.
I don't
the year
remember
you're
what
talking
it
about.
might have been 99 or 2000.
Francione year. Yeah.
It's something like that. And then he was like, we're walking on Tiger Stadium. He goes, "Well, I didn't get to hear the band, so that sucked." And I was like, "All right." Well, I was like, "Let's go to Bogies." And so we go out, and we're washing out, drowning out our sorrows. And by 3:15, we're in some straggler parking lot. We're going, "This was the greatest night of our life." And he's like, "I'm coming back. I'm transferring to LSU." I was like, "Oh, you know what? That's Bogies, man. That'll do it for you."
The last time I was in the Bogies office, I saw the Cole Taylor cleat that was thrown by Marco Wilson.
Yeah.
Just so you know what Bogies is all about, they got it all there. Like
It's
It's all there.
It's
I
memorabilia.
haven't been since they redid it though, so I gotta make sure I go. When
The next
I'm in
time
the-
you
in the
go, you gotta
225,
text
This
us, bro.
this year,
Like
Yeah.
we've got this set up. Like we can have this happen.
and
So,
let us know when you're coming to Baton Rouge.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll do it, boys.
So yeah, we appreciate it, Peter. SEC Network. You know where to follow Peter Burns. That's no problem.
At Peter Burns ESPN.
At Peter Burns ESPN on Twitter. That's right. So we appreciate it, buddy. We will talk to you soon.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate the invite. Let's do it.
Thank you,
Mr. Burns.
Thank you, Peter. Yeah.
I figured I'd throw that in there.
Mr. Burns. Like
Simpsons.
listen, that's excellent. Exactly. Like
I feel like he is spot on with a lot of the stuff he said. Matt bringing
I'm
his
drunk.
Facebook argument. I know you are bringing his Facebook arguments to this.
We spent half that time talking about 2020 and 2019. by
he
the
can't
way.
stop himself.
He
Matt,
can't.
you have a problem.
He can't. No, you do have a problem.
Think
It's
we're
rough.
All right,
bro.
everyone, pull out your letters that we wrote for you. This is actually an intervention.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
never.
Intervention season.
Okay.
It is affecting my life dramatically. I cannot sleep. Well, that is because I play video games at night. But I'm not gonna-
So I think we're
Okay.
just he was on it with the vax. Like we kind of said it before. It's like, sorry. You know, like,
LSU
I don't know, dude.
Is
Like
what
it's
it
like I don't
is.
even want to talk about it. So like I think the opinion to take here is just like
it is what it
Wait,
is.
is what
I
it
mean,
fucking is.
you don't
That's
feel like
about it.
LSU is ahead of the game here on that?
I feel like they don't want to be liable
I don't
for
know.
a breakout. For a
Ahead of the
bubble.
game, I don't know
agree
about
with
that.
Maybe
Because
maybe
I don't-
that's what I mean. Maybe
I
Which
don't
is what
know-
Peter was saying.
I don't know that every school is going to end up doing this, so I don't know if I would say that LSU is ahead of the game.
Okay,
Georgia's came out and said they're not.
Right.
they're not
Um,
going to do that.
Yes.
Right.
He's a true LSU guy.
Oh,
When he was saying that he.
I knew that. I knew that before I even asked.
Went to the
Yeah.
games in the student section. I thought he was going to say Bogies. It was like he and his dad would go to Bogies. Like that'd be legendary, right?
Holy
Like bringing
shit.
your kid to Bogies after going in the student section.
That'd be an all-time dad move for sure.
Shaq versus Leitner, incredible.
That was me.
And then inconsistency for LSU. You guys are inconsistent. That's what y'all are.
Yeah,
Who's we?
inconsistent
LSU
meaning
football.
like
Like
we're
this year?
15-0
Okay.
to 5-5. Yes.
Well,
that's inconsistent.
and like effort. Like sometimes it's like
That's
like,
inconsistent.
the sleeper is like, is LSU playing good today? Sometimes y'all come out and lay a stinker, which Auburn will too, and everybody does. But like,
I don't think that's the case. Actually, I think that this is actually going to be a consistent team. I feel like
Uh,
this is going to be
this year will.
defensively.
I think
yeah.
this year will.
No, I
but-
think the offense is going to be consistent as well. I think Max Johnson is just a guy. It's like you know what you're getting pretty much every time,
Yeah, I
and
think
I don't
the
think he's
problem,
ever going to
though,
like explode.
I think the problem is when you look at 2019 and 2020, it's inconsistent when you take the two and you combine them.
Yes.
We're throwing
Well-
them out.
well,
We're
I-
throwing them out.
well, I
Golf
don't
Andy.
wanna
We,
talk
we
about-
are.
I don't want to talk about that.
Do we want to do PGA? Do we want to do PGA?
What about it?
We got the tournament going on. We just had Cameron
right.
Smith set the
Rom-
course record.
Well,
Rom
like-
choked his ass off.
dominating.
Rom choked. What are you talking
Oh
about?
no, not Finau. Finau won. Rom
Finau.
dominated up until
Until then, right?
Yeah.
he choked. Yeah.
I actually
Well,
didn't watch the end. The
cancel
Monday
John Rom.
finish messed me up.
What I'd like to do is talk about the Moxie of the week. So,
Yeah.
Moxie of the week will go to famous Jameis Winston.
If we strong,
All right, so let's
Okay.
talk about Jameis.
So he played 3 drives, and this is preseason, so in a sense, who cares? But this is, I think, this says a lot about how the season could end up going. He plays 3 drives. We score a touchdown on 2 of them. He looks good. He makes some good throws. He's eating dubs.
well, Marquez Callaway stepping up and
Marquez
getting deep.
Callaway steps up.
And-
And Marquez Callaway could have been Moxie of the week too. This could have been a dual trophy here.
Hey, Jameis called him Quez today. That was pretty cool.
Quez.
Yeah, he said Quez.
Dude, I literally
I like that.
immediately after he makes that one-handed catch, I picked him up in fantasy.
Might as well.
I didn't even think
Have
about
to.
it.
Well, the thing the Saints offense was missing is the Drew Brees couldn't
Deep
throw
threat.
it over the top.
Right.
He never could. I mean,
Yeah.
say never. I mean, the past 3 years, 2 years.
I mean, no, he literally couldn't throw the
Couldn't
ball
throw.
more than 40 yards down the field.
and every time he wanted to, but Jameis brings us to this offense.
Which actually, and that just says, and it's like people use that as a slight to Drew Brees, but I think that actually just shows how good Drew Brees is. He can't throw a ball 50 yards down the field, and yet he was still super efficient.
But Jameis can sling that
can
bitch.
throw 50
Jameis
yards down
got
the
a can,
field.
and he can see.
All right.
And he can see now. He can he can
conversation.
actually see linebackers now. He's not going to throw to him
He said he
anymore.
couldn't read street signs before LASIK. That's a
Couldn't
fact.
read street signs,
Couldn't read
dude.
street
All right.
signs.
LASIK
So-
Jameis for MVP.
LASIK Jameis.
William says now he can read defenses.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so
He wouldn't have stolen the crab legs if he
I-
would have been able to see what they were.
Yeah, he thought.
He didn't know where the cash register even was. He couldn't see it.
all right,
He wouldn't have
That's-
stood on that table and yelled what he yelled if he could see.
He didn't
No.
he didn't know where he was.
He
He had
didn't
no
know.
idea.
you know where he was.
He couldn't see what was around him.
He didn't know what
He
was,
thought he
where
was
he
in-
was when he was in that Uber.
All right. Jesus.
Disavow.
Man, they're
Dude,
killing you. On
Dude,
this.
you've gone too far on like several occasions today.
So, all right, Jameis Winston,
Moxie.
Moxie of the week. You wanted this to be Moxie of the week. I'm giving it to you. The problem that I've seen is
Go ahead.
Is this the old man take of the week?
Yeah, it might be.
Here's
It
what
might
Matt's
be.
about to say. He's going to say, going back to 2020.
No. Jameis Winston is the fakest motherfucker
No,
that
he's
I've
not.
ever seen in my motherfucking life.
Matt.
Boo.
Elaborate.
Okay, go ahead.
When he tries to interview with people and talk to them after post game or whatever, and he
Sure.
starts talking, he's
Press
completely
conferences.
fake. Completely fake.
No, I agree. I think he does try to church himself up a little bit.
I think
Absolutely.
He definitely makes him tries to make himself sound smarter than he is.
I
It's-
think part of that is because of the standard he set for himself previously, like having that reputation of being a bad guy. He's like, I have to come and be
So,
more
it's a
than that.
rebrand.
Well, and
It's a
here-
rebrand.
But he
Here's
can
my thing.
sling the rock, and I'm ready for
It's
Jameis to run the
most
offense.
people,
I don't care.
most NFL players probably fake their press conferences, right? Like they fake the way that they talk to people.
okay,
in
so
a
what's your
post-
problem with Jameis?
He is just so noticeable the way
Okay.
he fakes it.
Okay.
Okay.
It's just out in the fucking open that like I'm like faking this.
Should we
and
call
like
him?
Okay, but
and
here's-
I'm, like
but here's
in it
the
and-
question: do I care? And I don't.
Well, what I
like-
care about is the people that take that and run with it. Like they think that it's
Okay.
real. Like
Sure.
they're like QB1. Oh my god! Like, are you kidding me? Like you're gonna take this clip and you're gonna run it and say QB1
That's
when
that's
it's
But
like
he is QB1. What's your
he
problem?
is QB1, but like you're taking pride in this.
Yes.
Like when he's been faking what he's saying.
Who cares what
would
he
you-
says?
would you
He's-
rather
I
the-
care about the football
Would
field.
you rather the face of your franchise be a fake, good, smart, cerebral guy, or a bona fide, genuine dumbass?
Come on.
Yeah, true. What would you
Well, the
prefer?
dumb-
What would
the
you rather?
The dumbass and the Dumas and the
Dumas.
is it dumbass Brett Favre? Because
Who-
if it's
who's the
Favre,
dumbass?
Would you would you prefer Jameis be
Be
You'd
Jameis?
prefer him to be what you think Jameis is, which is just a clown show idiot guy.
I just
That's what
hate-
you would
I
prefer
hate
him
when
doing
people,
press
like,
conferences?
talk to the camera and they like are completely fake.
I think Jameis
and
tries
the
to be.
media buys it. I can't stand it. I'm like done with it, bro.
Wait, great Moxie, Jameis. Good job.
Yeah, Moxie of the week. James
Yeah,
Winston.
Yeah,
And old man take it
Appreciate
away.
it.
James
Yeah,
Moxie of the week.
seriously,
Yeah,
old man
that's
take
why I
it.
wanted to keep this is because I knew there was going to be a conversation about this. I think Jameis Winston is like I can't trust him with a
You can't
like a
trust
lick.
him as far as you can throw him.
exactly.
Yeah.
But
Can't
Jameis
trust
can
him as
throw
far
it
as
a-
I can throw him.
Jameis can throw it.
I
long
think this
way.
guy,
Jameis-
I think
Jameis
this
has a
guy
cannon.
can like he will flake on you in 2 seconds.
What? No, he's not.
Yeah.
He stayed with us for a whole year.
I listened to part of my take today. Who was on part of my take? Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
Fitzpatrick said that he loves Jameis.
He said I love Jameis. The thing I told Jameis
he
is
said
that
he was.
he was
He said
faking.
he said he used to be squinting all the time.
Well, and
Yeah.
his advice
That's
to
what
Jameis
Fitzpatrick
was
said.
he needs to go home from the facility. He's like,
when he
bro,
was on
you're
top of the table,
He works
was
too
quitting.
hard.
he literally said like you're here too early and you stay too late, like you're working too hard. Like Jameis is trying too hard, and I feel like that comes out in his interviews that he's trying too hard to be
Well,
somebody
for
he's
sure.
not. But and that's might be Jameis trying to overcompensate for what he did. But at the end of the day, he can still sling the rock, and the guy's matured. He's
And,
been
okay.
under Drew Brees and Sean Payton for a year. He's different than who he was.
Let the record show Matt does not like people trying to improve
better
themselves.
themselves.
I
Yeah,
thought you were gonna
great,
stop at
great
people.
point.
And I was like, well, yeah. Go ahead.
Aside from off the field or personality, that's not what the segment was supposed to be about. That's not what my intention was here.
Slinging the rock.
But so people go back to the interceptions and they say, okay, why would he not continue throwing interceptions? And it's because when he was in Tampa Bay, he was with Bruce Arians, who likes to just he's super aggressive on offense, and he just wants to he's all about volume, and Jameis was throwing the ball like 50 times a game.
Yeah.
Sean
That's
Payton
because he threw two pick sixes in like the first quarter and then had to catch up. But
sure, but like
you're right. You are right about his offense.
But my point is that he's about volume, Bruce Arians is, and Sean Payton's all about efficiency. And I just think that with a coach like that, I think Jameis is just going to do a lot better, and he's going to allow Jameis to stay within himself.
You might have seen this play the other night. It was, I think, on Jameis's last drive or maybe his second to last one. It was like a 3rd and 14, and Jameis gets a little pressure. He steps up out of the pocket, goes to his right, and he's like doing the hitch where he wants to throw it. And I'm like, this looks like a pick. It looks like a pick. The last second, he snaps out of it and checks it down, but throws a bullet. And it hits a guy in the hands, and he drops it.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, if that's Kamara, that's probably a catch, right?
Sure, but also, yeah, it's just like that was big, like mature Jameis. It's like I'm not going to throw a pick. I'm not going to throw a pick.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
Don't do
force
it.
check down hard as shit. Oh, sorry, but it's like that was growth because old Jameis probably would have tried to squeeze it.
Sure.
No reason to do that.
He does have. I'll say
did it.
this: if we're gonna say bad things,
No,
Rational confidence.
his footwork is just ugly. It's good. He does a
it's
good
unorthodox.
job moving in the pocket.
It is unorthodox,
but it is ugly, dude. I hate his sleeves too. He needs to freaking tighten those up.
Wait, okay, this is not a bad Jameis segment.
This is Moxie.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
It was the Moxie of the week.
I feel
yeah.
compelled to say something bad because I'm the only one who hasn't yet.
I didn't say
No,
anything bad about Jameis.
I think
Me
it's
and
just
William.
normal
Okay.
that
I don't
if
know
we're
this
going to
guy.
have Jameis Winston
This guy
as the
literally
Moxie of the
hates
week,
him.
we all have something negative to say about him because that's who he is.
All right, let's talk about the alliance.
Yeah.
This is so brutal.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the alliance.
Alliance, and then we'll wrap it
Sure.
up. Yeah.
Boys. I mean, I'm just setting on the table. I'm not. I'm just not
Alliance.
Sam, go ahead.
No, alliance. Like, what does this even mean?
Yeah, what is it? What does it mean?
So, what I think it is like
I don't actually know.
the three conferences are coming together, and the Big
And
12
doing-
is left out of the
and-
equation again.
They're coming together and doing what?
I think they're
Chilling.
basically coming together to say that we're the
We're-
opposition.
we're
of
an
the
alliance.
SEC.
I think it was like
But-
I think it was a knee jerk thing where they were like,
I think they had.
I think they had to do something.
they had. to
Right.
do
They couldn't
something.
do nothing.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
They had to do
But
something.
what did they do?
Yeah. So
Nothing.
what they're doing is, I think it was exactly what.
Does
we
their
were
alliance have
talking
a
about.
name?
Huh?
Does their alliance have a name, or is
The
it just the alliance?
The fucking alliance.
They're gonna
So-
reboot the AAF.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
alliance, right?
So we were talking about like before all of this, like there were going to be 4 power conferences
Right,
that would have 16 teams.
right. And so now we have
And
sure.
so the alliance comes out, and it's like 3 conferences coming together, and Big 12 isn't a part of it.
Right.
And
now it's just poaching season.
but what
on the Big 12
what I've
teams.
even seen even on social media is that is exactly what we had talked about, which was the Big 12, the Big 10 would take Kansas and Iowa State
Sure.
as 2 teams
And
to
then
join the Big 10.
West Virginia to the ACC.
West Virginia to the ACC, and then you
Notre,
have.
Notre Dame to the ACC.
No, they're not. They're probably.
I think
don't know.
Notre
Who
Dame
knows?
would just
Notre Dame's not
automatically
getting
join
left
the
out.
ACC.
Who
No,
knows?
Notre Dame started their own alliance.
No, I think Notre Dame is
With-
just going to
with
automatically
Notre
join
Dame?
the ACC. That's not a part of any of this, but like they would just automatically join the ACC. 'cause
Wait,
they
so
have
did
to.
Notre Dame get included in this alliance? That's actually a good question. Did
No,
they
I
don't
leave them
think
out?
so.
That's funny as
They're
hell.
left out.
But there's really nothing done with it.
No.
Right, it's literally
it's like all
nothing.
like we're just doing a press conference and say this,
Yeah.
but we're not really. There's nothing to it.
I think the
Nice.
Big 12. So I was hearing that.
We should form an alliance with Notre Dame.
We should
The
do a
SEC
press
should.
conference. is what
We should run a press
do.
conference.
Yeah. No, I like this idea. TV schedules. The TV rights for Pac-12, I think, go out in 2 years, and then
Yeah.
the Big 10 are up in 2 years, and then the ACC has like 10 years on their deal. So even if they wanted to do some sort of scheduling bullshit, which we know they're not because of the USC LSU deal,
Yeah.
it's like I think the alliance is just like, hey, we're going to try to make a little bit of money
Well,
and like
that's
play each
part of
other
this.
every once in a while.
Is the TV stuff there? Nothing is on the table yet as far as like what this even means.
Wonder
So,
if they're just
yeah.
like trying to like cock block the SEC out of like,
But
out
USC
of, like,
signed
non-conference
that
games.
deal today, so I think
possibly.
since USC signed that deal today, I think
maybe the
they
alliance is
s-
helping to.
they're saying schedule one SEC school, and then this is all hypothetical, but then schedule, instead of scheduling Ohio, if you're Ohio State, schedule Oregon State, and we both make money. We do home or away.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm clearly,
Williams-
I have a very
Williams
captive
videoing me,
audience
so-
right now with
Well, I just got a text from Summer saying wrap it the fuck up. So
Yeah.
rap.
we
I
are
gotta piss.
going
like a
to wrap it
racehorse
up.
over here.
It has been one team, one podcast. And
Hey.
so before you
I'm
even
checking,
do that,
checking.
One Team Media, we have got to be a big shout out
Man,
to
some
One Team
studs
Media.
at One Team Media, huh?
Yeah, oneteammedia.com. We
got a one team betting show coming
That's
at
right.
you live on
Whoa.
Fridays.
wait, starting next week, everything's going to change. So we got Wednesday, we're going to have the Durante Jones Bourbon Club. That's going to be live from Hayride Scandal. We're going to have our One Team One podcast, as you know it here. It's going to be on Thursday. And then we're going to have One Team Betting with your boy Willie B and Jack P.
Sure.
We're going to have that on Friday. And then we have Coffee and Donuts. That's going to be our
It's back.
It's back.
Everyone's
definitely
so
back.
excited about it too.
Coffee and
I
Donuts.
posted it on Twitter. We got one like. So
Yeah, Coffee and Donuts.
Coffee and
coffee
downs,
and
baby.
downs.
Yeah.
It's a downs.
Coffee and Donuts will be back on Sundays. That's going to be our post-game show where we'll do all that. So you can check that out on oneteammedia.com. And, also,
and Coffee and Donut. That's a live show.
it is. You need to check
Sunday
out our
mornings.
YouTube page.
That's our-
You need to subscribe
Yeah.
right now to our YouTube page.
It's usually
One Team One Podcast.
we're typically hungover,
very much.
and we have a box of
I even told
unnamed donuts because they won't sponsor us.
Bocock Cigars. I've talked to those guys today about where I'm. Here's my big thing about Bocock Cigars. The Connecticut blend Bocock cigars go perfectly with a latte. Perfectly.
Any flavor latte or just a plain latte?
Vanilla latte is what I do.
I go vanilla too.
So I'm just telling you right now, if you smoke one of those Connecticut blends with
Hot
that
or
latte,
iced?
I do iced.
Okay.
But we'll do it.
Yeah,
We'll
me
do it
too.
for the podcast. I'm telling you, you're gonna knock your socks off.
Okay.
So we'll do that for Coffee and Donuts and One Team Media. You need to check those guys out for the YouTube page for sure. So One Team One Podcast
Nice.
on our YouTube page. Appreciate everybody that's checked us out today, and it has been One Team One Podcast.
Logan out.